Or Christine.
Yeah, so what I wanted to say, what I noticed about it, Aaron, because I read it before class, I noticed that like you really like focused in on like a single theme, right? Because like on one level we had the theme of like the sort of like power and like the dominatrix, and then on another level there was sort of the theme of um, uh, like prostitution, and then there was a third theme of like sort of like the race play, right, in the bedroom, right, and those like those could be those could be like three different poems, you know what I mean, and I was coming in with a little bit of like knowledge from our memoir class that we took together, right. So, and I remember that piece was like trying to remember like you took three different like sort of stories and then try to like put like a sort of motif throughout them, right? So like what I liked that you did here is that like you decided to like focus in just on. Now I feel like this is really like a poem about sort of like you are sort of God over this man when you guys are in the bedroom. It's really about like you taking
Yeah.
control over this like sexual sort of setting, right? Is that is that kind of what you got too, like Emily?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
Just to go off like what you were saying, I completely agree that I think in this draft it's like very clear that made your theme and your subject matter more singular, which I appreciate, especially because I remember the first workshop, like you said, you were considering like a collection or at least like a series of poems. So I think that's really smart. And I don't know if you had a chance. Yours was one of the ones that I responded to on the discussion board, and um, yeah, I basically just said like, that I like agree with the decision to remove the certain stuff that you did. And then I feel like you're right, like what you said in the beginning of class too, that like we talked too much about that one line about race. And the people who were doing it was me and Robert. So like, no, it wasn't too
We're
much.
going
It was
back and
good.
forth.
No, it was helpful because, a lot of times when I first sit down to write something, I put like way too many things. And then, I need people to tell me like, okay, well, this is fine, but you're going to have to execute it in this way if you want that to happen. Because we see where you're trying to go with it, but it's not really cohesive in this poem. So either you can separate that and start a whole different poem on that, or here's some ways you can incorporate it or integrate it more into the poem. And I thought, well, I can't do that right now because it's like too much. But so that's why I decided to subtract that. But you guys talking about it did not make me feel uncomfortable because that's the kind of like that's my life anyway. Right. But what made me feel like I needed to take it out is because I just wasn't comfortable getting into it and writing about it along with what I really want to talk about, which is what you guys just described on how my revision went and how you guys understood it. Yeah. Makes me feel a lot better.
Hopefully, like my advice came off like sort of like nuanced. It wasn't like me coming in like my white ears don't want to hear the N word.
No, you guys are good. You're fine.
I think that like honestly, like I think that like I don't know how many more poems we have to write in this class, but like just a whole poem like about that, even if it's the same guy that you're talking about, like that is a incredibly like fascinating, and that you got into that like a lot with your memoir piece, and that was like the thing that me and like Professor Hardina like harped on. That's like how many people like are even like brave enough to broach that subject. That's such a like taboo area to talk about, like bringing like race play like into the bedroom like that, and the way that you talk about it comes off very empowering, right? So you're not there to like condemn it and tell people that they're bad for having these like fetishes, right? You're there to be like, no, this is like another aspect of sexuality that like, you know what I mean, that people that is like is real, you know what I mean? And I think that might be its own poem.
Yeah. So then you guys agree that just taking that out was the right thing to do.
Did either of you guys get to read? I wrote you guys like 8 to 10 pages of like feedback. Did you? I had a whole thing. I think in my.
I thought I messaged you about thank you so much for the poem you wrote as well.
Oh, okay. Did you get a chance to read it? Because I didn't end up reading it in class. You liked it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And so Yeah, so I went into like a whole detailed description of like how I thought like if you were really like wanted to keep like the N word in the poem that you could like change the line to like make it like empowering. I don't know. Did you get to that section of the feedback letter?
I did, but I didn't want to touch it at the
Yeah.
time. I just was like, you know what? I'm not even going there right now.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's
I'm
what I'm
use
saying.
a lot
That
of your. I use your words and critiques and my other stuff. Anyway, I keep it.
yeah.
Just like what you wrote for last quarter, I have that saved so I could look at it when I
Yeah,
want to
and I'm excited that you're
more.
actually. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm excited that you're thinking of it. You're thinking about writing like a whole, like full length memoir.
It's gonna be too much, but thinking about it, yes.
Thinking about
I
it,
can
yeah.
tackle.
Go do a master's, and then you could make that your master's thesis.
No, this is it. I'm done after
Right,
this class, guys.
You could.
Okay, but we should move on. I
Okay.
think, to the next part of our what's next? Someone else is supposed to read
your poem. Read author statement. Have a partner read your poem. So one of us has to read Aaron's poem.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys don't want to, I get it. Like, it's awkward.
I would. Listen, I could read the whole thing now that it's.
Now the N-word's taken out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
now.
I mean,
Sure. I mean, I could read it, but also, Emily, did you want to read this poem aloud?
I have, I'll read it. I'm not uncomfortable reading it or anything, but Aaron, which one of us do you want to read it? Or do you care?
No, just anyone who feels comfortable. Like, but if Emily reads it, the only problem I have with Emily reading it is that she won't be able to read yours, Robert, because I can't read yours. I don't want her to read two poems. So.
Oh, I have to. I'm really am going to be rapping.
Oh,
No,
yeah. All right.
Unless
I'll read
Christine wants
Roberts.
to do it.
I'll read Roberts, but I'm not rapping.
Okay.
Robert, I guess.
Okay, that's
Let's
okay. I mean,
actually,
no.
let's hear a man. Let's hear a man read what. Like,
I agree.
It's gonna be a mind trip.
You guys want to hear? Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll try to do, because yours was like this very like effeminate, like sexy kind of voice you're putting on, so I have to do like a very like masculine, manly, like, but still sexualize it and make it like erotic, right?
No,
So
any way you want.
Yeah.
Any way you
Or
want.
in
No,
your,
no, I'm
like your signature style could.
Yeah, you can do that too. It'll help me understand like what I need to change or what works for this poem. You know.
All right, well then I'm gonna do my signature like angry spoken word poet thing where I'm just gonna attack it like it's like some slam like competition shit. All right.
Let's go.
Let's try it. Sit, stay, pick a god and pray. Choose a god and say their name, so mine will wither from your breath as you heave in collateral agony. Ask your god to watch, relinquish your faults, enjoy what you think is sin. Beg your god to bless this curse, your weekly fantastic demise. Summon your god when you call for him. Just know that I choose this meeting. You look me in the eye to hold my gaze, so I don't notice you swallow in fear. But all I see is you. And I know you feel I gotta zoom in on this a little bit. And I know you feel I keep you in the dark, but give it time, your eyes will adjust. For now, show your God bruises and silver while you feel me slowly cross the line. Now replace your God with me, provide your sacrifice, show me your pound of flesh. This is all I am worth? I detest your lack of creativity, your lack of anything. I won't carry this anymore unless you call to your devil. Then I will hit my second stride. Can you reconcile with your God, indulging, showcasing your vices without any guilt? Do you please your God when you cry out for me? Oh, Medusa would be proud for what I have set in stone. You will always be my plaything. I will always hold on you. You know I control your orgasm. Never forget I choose to be a replacement for your God. When you demand to be spiritually admonished, link your God with me, for we are the same when you pay me. Everything. Speak to your God and thank him. Next, because the next time you say your God's name, you will see my face.
Yay, thank you.
You like that? Did you like angry spoken word poem,
Like
Robert?
Your hand.
Oh, yeah, I was trying to do the like. I was trying to be like I was Pauly D in the Jersey Shore. I was like, yeah.
Thank you, Robert.
Yeah.
I actually realized I'm gonna change something because you said. Where is it?
It worked with
Unless
because there
you
was some.
call, you said unless you call to your devil, and it says the, but I think I'm gonna change it to your.
Oh,
I like
unless
the
you
way it
called.
says your better.
There you
So
go.
good.
Yeah.
I'm
Any
glad
any
you're a little. It
any
worked for me, so I'll
anytime where
change
I've
that.
naturally changed the dialogue, just go with it. Yeah. Rewrite it. Yeah. Rewrite it
That
based on.
works. That was good. I like. Yeah, I'm changing that. Well, thank you very much. And what else? What's the next part? Man, I feel like I need to rush this through. So what are the concerns? What are my concerns? I can't even process like my concerns. What? I know I have them. I just don't know like where to begin.
You can choose some of those questions for us to answer if that would help.
Yeah. Okay. We'll go to part 4. Okay. So, how does the shape or form of the poem contribute to your understanding of the poem? Do you guys feel like the way I have it? What does it do? Nothing.
No. No. I think. I mean, I noticed that Emily, you might agree that she broke it up into these little stanzas, which are sort of like standalone thoughts, right? And so you sort of like you told it in this sort of like I would almost say like narrative form. It was actually very similar, Emily, to how you kind of like like sort of structured how you structure your poem, right? Where you kind of like each paragraph or each stanza was kind of like its own individual memory, right?
Yeah.
So does that make sense, Erin?
Okay. So yeah. Okay. That's interesting.
I don't know if you want to say anything on that, Emily. No, she's talking about form. The question was like, what does the form do for the poem?
I think like for me at least, looking at the very short lines with the there's a lot of punctuation and periods in this new draft, and I think it, as well as like what you're talking about, Robert, like the stanzas now, I think it does a good job of like creating space and like making me slow down as a reader, because like when you read it aloud there's a lot of space and there's a lot of like very slow, right, like movement verbally. And so I think now with this new draft the structure kind of reflects that even more, which is helpful, because then, like I said, I slow down when I read it and I like can kind of feel that space and maybe get like closer to the headspace that you're in when you're actually reading it aloud. Christine, did you have anything to say? I don't want to like push you out.
No, I think the poem's it's pretty good. I mean, sorry, I've been having a lot of disruptions because people are calling me right now. So, yeah, it's just, my perspective is like, I feel like there's this power struggle between God and human beings in the poem. So it's like, I feel like from my perspective, that's what I'm seeing so far in the poem. Also, it also makes it unique and interesting because it's relatable, That's what I see in the poem. But otherwise, I think that your guys' improvements are pretty much what needs to be done in the poem, in my perspective.
Okay. Let me start one more thing. Okay, what's my next question? I guess the second question kind of goes with the first, how you guys answered. Like, or no, I don't know. Where can this poem benefit from rhythm and pause? The line breaks or white space?
That sounds like more like a almost like a performative like question, like to me when I imagine, when I'm talking about rhythm, and you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
I think like, because there's like a voice that you keep for like the entirety of like when you're reading it. By the way, you don't have to like actually take this. I'm just trying to answer the question. But like, there's like this like sort of like soft tempo that you try to do. I wonder if there are parts where you think, okay, there's like, if there's a chorus, imagine if it's like a song, is there a chorus line where you kind of take it up for a moment, you know what I mean? And then, and then if you can go back into that sort of like soft tempo, but like give it moments where it kind of rises, you know what I mean, before it goes back into the fall.
Do you have a place in the poem where you think I should change my monotone as
Let's
quiz?
see.
Is there somewhere where you're like, oh yeah, if she, tweaked
Well,
the rhythm or the sound or the speed,
I think
it
you
would
want
be better
to,
there?
yeah, you want to like your best lines, the one that the ones that people latch onto, are the places that you can change the tone so that so that section stands out more. So like the Medusa line, I mean, Emily and I were both smiling because that's like one of the best lines in the poem, right? It's hilarious, but then it's also like it's a great metaphor.
No, because I was thinking of in class when who asked about it? Was it Rachel or you, Robert? And you were like, no, I just meant like straight up like hard. Like that's what I meant. Because we were trying to get like a meaning out of it. That was funny.
Oh yeah. Oh wait. Yeah.
I think it was Robert.
Didn't I say that in class? I was like,
Yeah,
I was like,
did.
oh, it was like it's all about, because the professor was like, oh, it's about Greek mythology and everything. I just put in the chat. I was like,
And you're like,
it's about
look,
it's about a dude's
he's
dick
got a
getting hard.
hard
Yeah.
I was like, well, yeah, that's right.
Um.
That's always a fun part. My job. Okay.
Employee benefits.
Oh wait, no, never mind. Don't. That's not a benefit. It's just work.
Christine.
Okay,
Christine doesn't have the link to the original Google Doc. Does someone want to send her the?
Oh yeah. Wait, I don't have it either now. I just have my copy.
Yeah,
Me too. I
because
only have the copy.
I downloaded it. Yeah.
I literally just copy and
Oh,
paste
wait.
it onto Word.
It's still in the chat. Hold on.
Okay, my last question.
Did that work? Did anybody get that?
No, I
yeah,
got
I saw
I got it. I
Okay.
see it.
Christine, if that didn't work, I can like send you my copy. I don't care if you look at it. Just let me know.
Okay, and for my third question,
Yeah, I just resent. I mean, Emily sent it, but I just put it.
is there more this poem wants to say? Or can this really just be enough?
You want to go for it, Emily?
I was just gonna say, like, I think there's more that the collection or that you want to say, but not this poem. Like, I definitely see this being more, but it's individual right now and it's concise and like more condensed, and I think it should stay that way personally. Like we were talking, Robert, how like we completely agree with the decision she made to like, like take out some of the topics and keep it very like singular. So I think that this poem doesn't necessarily need or want to say more, but the idea of a collection does.
Yeah, the ideas that you had in that original poem should spawn to like into 3 or 4 different poems. The ideas of the sort of like fetishization of like sort of like race, you know what I mean, in the bedroom. I think that's a fascinating topic. I've probably not read a lot of like memoir or poetry on that topic. So that's a great like that should be that should be 10, 15 different poems. But it should be its own separate poem. And then I'm trying to remember if there were any other aspects of like what were there was a couple other themes that were in the original poem that like could be kind of its own.
Well, don't even worry about that. Don't worry about it.
Because this was like more. You didn't emphasize as much on the aspect of like the payment, right? And like it's sort of being a
I didn't
transactional.
want anything to do with work to be involved.
Yeah,
it was just too complicated with already the religious aspect of someone like wanting that bit to be like God,
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can't. It's too much for other people to understand.
So that also is its own separate topic, right? If you wanted to dive into that in a piece of memoir or in another poem, but that can really stand alone. Make sure to move on to the next poet once you're finished.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm so sorry. We probably spent way too long on my stuff. So.
My God, yeah, Aaron, we've been talking about you for an hour. Jeez.
But I really do, really appreciate your feedback, and I'm excited. Like, you guys make me feel excited to write poetry.
Should we talk quickly about part 5, just so we can write it?
Okay.
Have to like
turn something out.
Yeah, that's why. Because last time I took a class with Rachel,